Hello everyone, we're on 2-6. Make sure you write that in the top left hand corner and make sure you write your information in the top right hand corner. So our section for today is 2-6, solving proportions. So a proportion is an equation where two ratios or fractions are equivalent. So let's dive into it. So it says solve for x. Well, if I have x over 45 is equal to 15 over 25, what I could do is I could multiply by 45 on both sides. If I multiply by 45 on both sides, I will get x by itself. So I would get x is equal to 15, and let's break this up. I know it's going to be 9 times 5, and I know this is 5 times 5. I know I can cancel 5 divided by 5. I know 15 divided by 5 is 3, so I can cancel these, and then I'd get 3 times 9 is 27. X equals 27. Well, now all we have to do is check our solution. So I have 27 over 45 is equal to 15 over 25. Now in this case, what I would do is I would take my calculator and I would just plug into my calculator 27 divided by 45, and I get 0.6. Okay. Then I would take 15 divided by 25, and I get 0.6. Oh, well then, that's correct. It matches up. It's good. Let's go on. Solve a proportion with two missing quantities. All right, well, what we're going to do is we're going to try to get rid of x's on both sides and make sure there's only x's on one side. So the one thing I would do is I would get rid of the fractions. So I would do a fraction blast. So I would multiply by 24 on both sides. Why? Because there's a 24 right there, so I'm going to times it by 24. Now I can tell you right now that's not going to get rid of the 9. This is 8 times 3. So I know that 8 times 3 with a 9 on the bottom, that will cancel out with the 3, so I'll be left with 8 thirds. 8x third will equal 24 divided by 24, 2x minus 3. Well, now I have to get rid of that 3. So I'm going to multiply by 3 on both sides. Or altogether, just multiply by 3 all the way across. So 3 divided by 3 will cancel out. 8x will be on the left side. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. And now now it looks like a regular problem that we can just go through and start solving. 2x is equal to negative 9. Divide by 2 on both sides, and we get x is equal to negative 4.5. Done. Well, now let's check our solution. So if we check our solution, we put negative 4.5 in for x over 9. That's a horrible, ugly-looking negative 4.5. And we do have 2 times negative 4.5 minus 3 divided by 24. And going through this, negative 4, this would be negative 1/2 is equal to 2 times that is negative 9 minus 3 over 24. 9 minus 3 is negative 12 over 24. Oh, that would be negative 1/2. So yes, these two fractions are equivalent. So it makes a proportion. It's done. Let's go on. So here's a real-world problem. Solve a proportion using a constant rate. So parts of Mexico City are sinking at a rate of 140 centimeters every 5 years. So we understand that it's going to be 140 centimeters every 5 years. If this rate remains constant, how many centimeters will the city sink in the next 12 years? So we don't know how many centimeters it will be, so we're going to put x. Well, what does that mean? We don't know because we didn't create our what sentence. It starts with an L. Our let statement, which is let x equal how many centimeters the city will sink. Okay, so let's go on. So here's our equation, our proportion. So now we just have to solve for it. So what I would do is I would multiply by 12 years on both sides. Mr. Schultz, aren't you going to multiply by 12? No, I'm multiplying by 12 years. And I'll show you why. If I multiply by years, years and years will cancel. Years and years will cancel. 12 and 12. And I'm going to be left with centimeters. So now all I have to do is do 12 times 140. But I don't want to do that. 140 divided by 10 is 14. But if 5 is half that, that means it would be twice as much. So this would be 28 centimeters times 12. So now using my handy dandy calculator, because I don't want to keep doing that, 12 times 28 centimeters would be, change it to black, 336 centimeters is equal to X. That's how much it would sink in 12 years. Does that make sense? Well, let's see. 5 years, double that is 280. Yeah, and 12 years is more, so that does make sense. All right, let's go on. Example 4. Solve a percent problem by using a proportion. A guide company makes a trail mix of raisins and mixed nuts. How many pounds of raisins does the company need to mix with 14 pounds of nuts to make the trail mix of 30% raisins? Okay, so we know, let's put let R, what's that right there? Let R equal the amount of raisins, because we know that how many mixed nuts there are going to be, but let's hold up. Now, I actually like this one a little bit better because we have 30, we know it's 30 over 100, because that's 30%, 30%, 30 out of 100. So we know that's going to equal, well, we know that it's 30% raisins, so that's going to be R. Well, how do we get it? Well, we'd have R plus 14. Now we just have to figure out everything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by, well, how do I get rid of the bottom, get rid of the fraction? Well, I get rid of it by multiplying by it. So I'm going to multiply by R plus 14 on both sides. So if I do that, I'll get 30R, or 30 times R plus 14, technically still divided by 100. On this side, what's 5 divided by 5? 4 divided by 4, 10 divided by 10. They're all equal to 1, so what's R plus 14 divided by R plus 14? That number would be 1, and we're left with R. Well, I mean, looking at this guy right here, I'm going to multiply by that 100 because we don't like fractions. So we're going to times 100 on both sides. Using the multiplication property of equality, those will cancel out, and I'm left with 30 times R plus 14 is equal to 100R. All right, well, that would be 30R using the distributive property. 30R plus, let's just do it. 14 times 30. 420 is equal to 100R. Do I have any more room going down? Let's see. Yep, a little bit more room. So now we're going to move the smallest variable, minus 30R on both sides. And I will get 70R equals 420. If I divide by 10 on both sides right now, I would get 42 is equal to 7R. But mister, why did you do that? Well, because there's a 0 at the end. Divide by 10 on both sides, we're good. So now all I have to do is divide by 7 on both sides, and I would get 6 equals R. Now, technically, my let statement, I should have said let R equal the amount of raisins in pounds. Because now we just have like 6, and it's like, okay, what's that 6? It's 6 pounds. All right, guys. I'll catch you later. I'll see you in class. Bye then.